Hello, everyone. I'm Jenny Carr. I'm the Programs Director for Courage Beyond, and with me I have Starlett Henderson, a female veteran and military spouse, someone who we have brought on to Courage Beyond recently to talk about money, specifically how money can affect our psychological well-being and what we can do to turn the tables and make money work for us. So we've invited Starlett onto this podcast today to do a deeper dive into that. So with that, I will hand it over to Starlett.
Well, hi. Thanks, Jenny. I appreciate it. Like you said, I have been brought on as a military veteran and an accredited financial counselor to talk to the audience, the Courage Beyond members, and the community of which I am a part and have benefited for a long time, to help give back to that community and help really begin this conversation of what it means to have ready money that is easily, hands-on, ready to go and help us endure what military life or transitioning out of military life has to offer. And so we've had classes, but we're going to dive into a deeper conversation to kind of welcome people back and introduce them into the program as we begin our new, basically kind of fiscal year calendar of some new classes that are coming up. I'll talk about at the end. So as I was thinking about this fiscal year calendar and how we should approach things, we talked about experts coming on and giving advice, or taking the education to the next level and developing or looking at research, how it affects military members, their transition, how fiscal health affects physical health, and vice versa. And that's all well and good. And we're going to do that. We're going to tackle some of those topics this year. But we also talked about, the heart of Courage Beyond being stories and swapping stories and sharing testimonies and walking the journey alongside each other. And so I started to think, okay, battle buddy mentality, right? I am the moderator, so I get to go first. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about by means of being an accredited financial counselor, I am, quote unquote, the expert, right? I've been educated, and this is an area of interest, and it has been an area of interest for me for a really long time. And so I have tried things, tried and failed, or tried and had something work on the 78th time. I am a military spouse. We've been a military family for 20 years. So all of this is within the context of being a military family and how our finances have worked, how our situation has worked with David being here or away. And so solutions are as varied as the problems, right? Cash-only practices are touted by a lot of professionals. Dividing household banking and keeping bank accounts separate is one way of doing things. Plussing up accounts for the future at the expense of the present, or vice versa, is another way of doing things. There's just so many different ways of doing things. So I'm just going to basically confess about some things that I do at my house that are what I would say make us uncomfortable, right? And they're things that we've done that we would like to do better next time, or things that we've done that we've tried to do better next time, and that next time has come and we're still not better. And so the whole point of the conversation today is about confessions, and the fact that I, as a expert, as a military spouse who's been doing this for 20 years, bounced a check again just last week or just last month, right? And right? I mean, how many times do you think I might have kicked the proverbial dog over that one? I can hear people wondering out loud, like, who writes checks anymore anyway, right? Like, I carry a checkbook in my purse, I pull it out, and people are like, what's that? So there's that way of us doing things at home. Or how do you bounce a check when overdraft protection exists? Why didn't you have it? When you say you bounce a check again, like, what do you mean again? Like, you've done this before and didn't learn last time? And so last month, like, that's another thing I can hear them saying. It's just last month, like recently, after 20 years of doing this, or you've PCS'd, tax time was just recently, you have your refund in your account, you had advanced travel money. Like, how did you not have the money when you needed it, where you needed it. How was your money not ready? Oh gosh, I mean, it's really kind of embarrassing to share, being that I am now the moderator of a financial readiness program, right? I'm on call for another agency that teaches military families how to run their books, and we've been doing this for 20 years. So on top of that, this check was bounced. It was the very first check to our brand new homeowners association that I have to develop a relationship with, in this future, and we're going to be in this house for a really long time. So there's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration at myself, frustration at my spouse, because I am left to kind of do all of this alone. He trusts me completely, and I, sometimes can't even totally trust myself. And then, there's the whole, I know better, I'm teaching people to do better. I thought that this is going to go down differently. But the truth is, my truth is, every PCS and every deployment, if I look back, I've bounced a check. And I'm not floating a check. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm not like, I'll rob Peter and pay Paul, and just, try to make sure that this check is covered. But, it's just been an honest math mistake or timing a transfer, poor timing in the transfer. But honestly, if I look back, if it does not happen every time, it's happened 80% of the time, which is usually, that's my standard, right? 80%. That's my 100%. And that will be a whole nother podcast someday, maybe in the mental health community. I don't achieve or strive for 100% anymore. And so then that's where I started to really turn that conversation around and quit beating myself up, knowing it's going to happen again. Yes, it's an embarrassment. It helps me understand my community. It helps me understand my students. It helps me realize that there are some things that I can't control, even as a financial planner or a financial counselor. I just can't plan my way around not either bouncing a check or paying bills late, because I've done that too. So that was my big confession that I wanted to share.
Well, I wanted to talk about it because, there's so much in that. And what I hear you talking about and what really resonates with me is this concept of shame and this concept of what money means to us and what money represents for us. And I think for a lot of people, myself included, there's a value on money that's not just the dollars in the bank account. It's a sign of planfulness and security and maturity. And when you don't have it, or when it doesn't behave right for you in a checking account, that looks badly on you. So I was on vacation last week, 2 weeks ago time. But on vacation, my credit cards basically thought that I was, being fraudulent, making fraudulent charges because I forgot to tell them I was going on vacation. And the amount of shame and embarrassment that I felt, and the amount of explaining I did to these poor salespeople and restaurant owners to explain to them how wonderful a person I was, right. I felt like made it even worse. Sitting there saying, I have lots of money,
Thou doth protest too much, right? Yeah, exactly. They're like, sure you do.
Exactly. It's just because I'm on vacation, and, it's only because I'm out of the town. It's not because I'm a deadbeat or one of those, and I saw myself digging this hole of shame and embarrassment. And why do we do that to ourselves? What is it about money, and how can, I had the same thoughts, like, where is this coming from, and how can we fix this so that I don't feel this way about something that is, in that case, none of the person's business, what's going on with my money, that they don't care about, but that somehow I feel like reflects on me. So I'm so glad we're talking about this, and I had to share my own lest I leave you hanging in the wind.
Right. And I want to key in on something you said, because we do have to fix our financial bookkeeping, right? And apply some basics. But the fixing that we need to do are the feelings of when life happens or when mistakes happen. Deadbeat is a strong word, okay? There's a long way between someone who occasionally bounces a check or pays a bill late or doesn't understand a contract or, for instance, one of the other confessions I wanted to make was I'm not ready for retirement. Dave and I aren't ready for retirement. We talk like it's going to happen in 2020, right? But if we sat down, I'm a financial counselor. There's another, person in this financial industry, the financial planners, and they would look at me and be like, "You're crazy. You're not retiring in 2020. Not if you want to still pay for your kids' college. Not if you want to live the life that you're used to. Like, you're living in fairy tale land." And we think we're not living in fairy tale land. We put in some money here in the TSP. We've got an IRA. So we may be quasi ready or somewhat ready, but the retirement plan is black or white. 20 years and a day, we're done. We step out, we get our 50% of David's pension, and we're still going to live like we're living now, and so there's a lot of denial in there too. And I know that just by way of talking to other people, that would resonate with them too. I mean, so I'm not confessing anything dirty or shameful or, I got you or whatever, but it is, it's all part of that conversation. I think people assume, okay, by way of the fact that I have AFC behind my name, that I've fixed everything. And forever here now, from now on, I won't be just achieving my standard of 80%. I'm more closer to the 99%, and I'm getting an A or A plus in financial management as the chief financial officer of our house. And I just wanted to dispel that, being that I'm going to be, I wouldn't, leading is not the right word. Moderating is the perfect word for this Facebook Ready Money class in the group. I'll be moderating, but my struggles, while they're not the same as people like I'm not taking care of my husband. I'm not a caregiver. We don't have those expenses and insurances, claims, and all that to deal with. It's a very strong, hard struggle. We're done expecting. We're done having babies that are unexpected, right? Because that's happened, right? And we're like living life high on the hog again. That's a phrase I'm probably overusing, but all of a sudden, oh, great. What do you mean we're pregnant? We don't have that in the budget. So those things that they've happened to us, and while some of them aren't happening now, they have happened, or I know people that they've happened to, or other things have happened to us, all kind of wrapping up me in this desire to just make sure that people are comfortable with where they're at and have a plan to get to where they want to be, whether that's improved financial wellness, for retirement, or even just being able to adapt that the coping strategies of not just kicking themselves over and over because something keeps going wrong and it's really just life happening.
So what a great framework and for Ready Money. If our goal is financial wellness, we are eliminating the parts of ourselves or the spaces around us that are maybe not healthy in terms of our attitudes about money, clearing the way for a plan that we can work successfully. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm confessing some things that I don't feel comfortable with in money, but money is not really an area that's difficult for me. In general, we're okay, and have been okay and are able to access that ready money when we need it. But where I draw the parallels and where you were just talking about as far as like trying to get rid of those behaviors that aren't beneficial to us, that parallels for me in my physical health. Right. So I understand what it is to continuously not make a goal for physical health, either for, lack of putting in the effort or, just not making a proper, a rational goal or something like that. Yeah. And I understand that. And so I've come to learn on that space, like I need to find some things that I can do well for the rest of my life and start there, I could go to CrossFit next week, right? But that's not something I'm going to endure longer than 6 weeks. So it's probably not where I want to go. And so I just feel like in the financial health perspective, we have to adapt behaviors that are going to set us up for those little things in life, like a bounce check or a redirection on our retirement plan or whatever, that are going to be more easily navigable, because we already have those basic foundation and principles there, or we have people to talk to about them when they're not there, and we can process them. And while we may never find someone else exactly in our situation, again, that 80% is met. You're going to find someone who probably will match 80% of what's going on in your life. They've either been there or done that or are there still, and you can exchange ideas. It's going to increase your endurance for the nasty things that are happening in life. And it's going to help you with that creative muscle. You know, you're watching them try, you're going to try some things yourself, and you might find that one puzzle that's going to bring you from, 50 to 70% or 70 to 80%, and prepare you for those mishaps in life that are going to happen because we're, military families.
So now you're making me dork out over exercise, and I knew, you knew what button to pick with me, to
yes.
push with me.
Well, commonalities, that's, what we're going to do is talk about life, money or otherwise.
In all related. So I love that you're talking about the fact that, money management, money saving is a marathon and not a sprint. Mm-hmm. And I even love the fact that you brought up 80%, because from a heart rate perspective, let's talk about what's a sustainable heart rate.
Awesome.
So I certainly understand that not everybody's exercise geeks out there that like those analogies. But, I certainly do. And what I'm excited about for Ready Money and can't wait to dive into for this next course is the idea that no matter where we're coming from, our feelings can be the same. So, as humans, we're capable of this capacity of emotion, or certain set of emotions. And because we are dwelling from that same range, we can find commonality there. Mm-hmm. And then regardless of, what the scenario is that is causing those issues, internally, we can work to fix those internal issues together. So I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. And I can't wait to get started.
Well, it's really easy for you to get started. I know you know where to find us, Jenny, but I want to just tell everybody else that, if they're looking for their battle buddy to help them through this financial journey, or a community to bounce ideas off or learn things from, interesting statistic, and our members will learn this in the class, was that, most people feel that they're educated enough in the financial realm. They have sat through classes either on installation or, been online and gone through programs there that educate them. But where they're lacking is the ability to, again, share ideas, hear stories, see what works for other people, see what works in the real world. And in that real world for us is either military or post-military or caregiving, a very specific segment and a very specific journey across the walk of life. So I'm inviting all of those people to come together so that our conversation is louder. People can overhear us. They can learn by our example. They can come in. The more people there are, the more the likelihood that you'll find that 80% match and find a battle buddy that is closer to understanding you than maybe your next door neighbor or someone sitting with you at a class on financial readiness on base or wherever you go. So Ready Money is offering classes. We're going to start the second to last Wednesday in August. It's very easy to find us and sign up. You have to go to couragebeyond.org, and under online classes, under services, there's an online classes button. And I'm not the only class that's offered. There's classes offered for survivors. There's classes offered for military spouses, female veterans, caregivers in general. I've just been welcomed recently as the financial piece. And for some of those people, that financial discussion was what, the missing puzzle piece. And so we're all just going to work together to make sure that we're stronger and to make sure that we can go along this journey with half a chance at being able to whistle, while we work, and have a little bit more personal satisfaction in life through these classes. So it's a 3-part class. We call it Ready, Set, Go. And so I'm going to walk you through goal setting. We're going to walk you through measuring whether or not you're achieving those goals, and kind of set up a plan that you can move forward with. Last time I went through the class, even along with my students, and did the whole worksheet. And I'm happy to say that I do have my little nest egg squirreled away for a car when I want to put a down payment on a car. We talk about rules of thumb and whether they're realistic in this day and age, and whether it's an all or nothing kind of mentality that we should be applying, which, quick answer is no. You do what you can do to get a little bit closer, to the 18th hole, if you want to use the golf analogy, or the 9th hole if you're doing a half a round. So those classes are offered, and you can sign up now, and they'll be offered in August. And once you're done with that, you're invited to start participating in the conversation even further and applying those principles that you learn in the basic class through our Ready Money Facebook group. It's secret. You won't be able to find us until I invite you after you've attended the class, and I hope you will. Thanks.
Thank you, Star. Look forward to it.